Hello everyone, these are going to be your messages for June 2019. My name is Joanna the Medium. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like what you find here. I am not a traditional tarot reader. I guess I would say I'm an intuitive psychic, even though I hate that word. So majority of my messages comes through intuition, and you'll sometimes hear me talking to spirit out loud. Point is, if you are looking for a traditional tarot reader, that's not me. So this is obviously general. If these messages don't make sense to you, do listen to them later. They seem to make a lot of sense down the road for many, many, many people. And first and foremost, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you, again, who are new, thank you for taking the chance. My aim is always to give you something to chew on, to think about. My aim is not to make you believe anything or change something inside in you. You know what my gift is? Not my gift, my passion is, aside from empowering. I actually got this morning in my meditation. I just kind of went, yes, that's exactly it. I was being shown that I get information. It's almost like a roadmap, and I give it to you. And once you have a roadmap, you know where you're going. So whatever that means to you, that was obviously a metaphor. My aim is to give you a roadmap, but it is up to you to take it. It's up to you to look at it and see if you like it. And then consider consider looking at the map and seeing where it leads you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's absolutely up to you what you decide. And nobody's right or wrong. This is just my perspective from spirit. And if things have not been working for you for a while, trying a different perspective sometimes can usher brand new, beautiful experiences. So do know that this is general though, so it may not apply to everyone. Of course, for private information or private sessions with me, that information is always down below. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want to wish you best of luck in the month of June. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being part of my channel, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Without further ado, let's move on to each sign. Hello, beautiful Geminis. These are going to be your messages for the month of June 2016. And these messages are going to be for those in particular who have been feeling stuck, or another way to put it, for those of you who have been feeling like either you are out of balance, you do not feel balance inside yourself, or your life has felt quite unbalanced. And that can be interpreted obviously in different ways, but this is going to be for those of you who resonate with that message. The idea of the idea of control is coming up, and what it is showing me is that many of you who have been dealing with challenges around control, either feeling like you're not in control, lacking control of your life, being under someone's control, being afraid of taking control, if there is control in relationships, if there's been any challenges around the idea of control or like need to control, it is fundamentally rooted in a certain level of disbelief in yourself. And my Joanna brain is trying to figure this out, and I know I'm not supposed to, so I'm going to just let it flow, and each and every one of you who hear this will probably have a slightly different version of interpretation. The point I'm trying to make is that my messages seem to go over this next 2 to 3 months. So even though this is for June, it will continue past June till later. And as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this continues up until the month of October, which is a 10-month. And the number 10 is also representing the energy that you're working with. And to me, it is essentially saying you're working with what I would call an energy of completion. That is, things have been broken, ties have been untied, certain things have been left behind physically, but now you are maturing emotionally to a level where, emotionally speaking, you are moving past certain restraint. And that restraint is one you have posed upon yourself, but it was initially instigated by something or someone else. Another way of saying is I'm seeing a can and the lid is taken off. And when the lid is taken off, something happens. So release. Another way of saying it, this is for those of you who have the tendency or have had the tendency to hold yourself back quite a lot. And if you have to think about it, chances is not for you, because at the end of the day, we all hold ourselves back. It's in a certain way. It's just to the extent of which we hold ourselves back. So if you kind of have to think about it too much, then it's not for you. It is for those of you who know, yeah, that's me, I get it. If you feel like you've been holding yourself back, or if you know that you have been holding yourself back, for some of you, it's since you were children. This is about you taking the lid off. It is about you completing that aspect of your learning. Some of it will be around powerlessness. Some of it will be around the idea of lack, which represents lack of choices, lack, the LACK. Some of it will be around needing to have experienced certain level of pain. And I know for the physical human brain, analytical part of our existence, why would we ever put ourselves through pain? Pain is essentially another way of saying discomfort. It is through discomfort that we realize who we truly are. So you have chosen in spirit world to create certain scenarios for yourself that, although you would have found very challenging in a physical body, ultimately it as a soul, it allows you to attain a next level of advancement. So if I was to say that you are about to graduate from a life school, and this life school would be concentrated around a certain subject, let's say a personality, then it really, what's implied here is you are beginning to learn new ways of connecting with yourself than when you have before, and ultimately closing the door on your past. We all carry shit forward. Pardon my French. We all carry garbage and baggage from our past. We all have baggage. So it is what it is. It is when we begin to realize what is baggage, and then we choose to do something about it in terms of shifting our thinking and then actioning our new belief, that we ultimately end up removing ourselves from constantly clinging to the past and be more present in the now, which allows for a different future to be formed. The phrase emotional sacrifice was given to me, and I actually was scratching my head saying, I don't even know what that means. Like, if I was to think about it logically, what's sacrifice? Well, we know what sacrifice is. You are basically, you're sacrificing. So emotional sacrifice, in my logic thinking, would be, sacrificing your emotions in order to, blah, 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 blah. And we all sacrifice in life for various reasons. But the emotional sacrifice to me is very symbolic of an inner struggle in terms of needing to be something that you are ultimately not. Now, why would you want to be something that you are not? Well, we actually all do it to a certain degree for various reasons. They need to belong, they need to be liked, they need to feel like you're a part of something, they need to feel valued. Well, there are a gazillion reasons that I could name, and then some, why we do this. But point is, when we do those things in order to, oftentimes we sacrifice our own sense of self and who we are, and we end up basically living according to rules of other people, which is also our conditioning. We are a product of our environment, and so are you, so am I, so are you. And your environment has basically dictated to you how life works in your early age. So a lot of the challenges that you are struggling with or have been struggling with all come from, essentially, usually 99% of the time, from you having experienced something in your childhood. Therefore, it would be appropriate for me to say that over the next few months or so, you will be looking into your past in terms of you growing up, and you will essentially be assessing that part of your life, and you will be drawing conclusions that will allow you to gain wisdom from those experiences, but ultimately allow you to shift your connection you have to your experiences, which in a roundabout way says you will begin to emotionally detach yourself from your past emotionally, or you will create a different connection, one that is much more suitable to your growth and expansion versus one that holds you back. So we're talking about attachments. And I guess it took Spirit quite a while to actually make me go, oh, okay, they're talking about attachments. It's a very eloquent way of speaking, because that's normally not how I speak. So notice what emotional sacrifice means to you. Point is, you're coming to an end of that cycle, end of that school, and it's either time to move on from that, or you are essentially doing the work necessary, and you will begin to see the results of that work over the next few months. The idea of move came up. So for some of you, this will be indicated by a move. The move, the energetic move within you may usher for some of you a physical move. This could be a move away from a relationship, a home, a place where you live, a place of work, an association, whatever, to moving into something new, something different, something much more appropriate, perhaps. So don't be surprised if over the next few months, for some of you, you will begin to think about or have ideas about a physical move. For some of you, it'll transpire as a result of you looking for something. And for some of you, it's just going to show up unannounced saying, hey, here I am, look at me, what do you think? So for some of you, there is a move that seems to be kind of sort of out of the blue. And I always like those, because when they come unannounced, they're unexpected, and they have an extra oomph in them. And I'm talking positive. I'm not talking about negative circumstances. So some of you may understand already what that means, and some of you will not understand ever. And some of you will understand it down the road. I'm being reminded that I said in one of my previous messages for Gemini that I did see move coming up for you, and I guess I did say it was somewhere this year. So if that is being repeated, then that message continues to come through. For some of you, this is a loud yes. Move would be a good idea, or move would be good for you if in fact you have been wondering, should I move, should I move, should I move? So if you've asked, should I move, for example, Spirit is delivering a message to you. So do not rely on me as the only source of inspiration. I'm sure Spirit will talk to you in various ways. But if this is one of those messages when I'm saying move and you've been wondering, and it's the 10th time you hear that, the chances are, make the damn move. Pardon me for my French. I seem to be speaking French a lot these days. Okay, I wasn't anticipating on having this message channeled like this, but I am always open to working in new ways. I asked for an animal spirit card for you, and 2 fell out. And I thought it was interesting because both of these creatures are water connected, which means it's all about emotions. Well, emotional sacrifice, I guess that's what we're talking about. The octopus came up, and the crocodile. So I will talk about both of them individually, and I will see what wants to be said. I am not going by the traditional meaning of what it means from the book. So I am going to be inspired by what I see. So the crocodile, and actually that is consistent with the book. The crocodile is about patience. Now, I know. Many of you will say, oh, Jesus, Lord Joanna, how long do I have to be patient? I know. Trust me, I'm a Taurus. So what does that mean? Well, let's just say patience is not my thing. I don't know if it's a Taurus thing, but patience is not my thing. That's one of the things that I'm learning. So for the next few months, you might want to not rush into anything just yet. Particularly if you are on the move. The crocodile represents someone who is very comfortable in his or her emotions and it emerges when the time is opportune. In opportune time, I don't like the way it came out. I just hear wait. So there is something for some of you about perhaps needing to get out of a situation, and I'm being asked to say the word wait. Now, I always say, if you are in a situation that is dangerous, or somebody's abusing you, or you're being mistreated, no, you're not. Don't wait. Do everything in your power possible to get out now. But that's not what I mean. That's not what I'm talking about. This is about not doing anything that is rush oriented. In other words, if you can help it, try not to rush into anything just yet. And I'm asking the question why. And what I'm feeling is that over the next few months, so I'm going to move on to the octopus. So the octopus has many tentacles, extremely smart and intelligent. So this is going to cover probably all of you, smart and intelligent. But what I'm seeing here is the octopus has his or her tentacles in many things. What I feel is that many of you are scattered in terms of energy. You may be very smart, you may be very intelligent, but your energy is all over the place, and perhaps that's why you cannot think clearly. So this message representing the crocodile, which is about being patient and waiting for the right opportunity to emerge. This one talks about moving more into much more precise intention, or another way, moving away from being scattered and moving into being much more, what's the word I want to use? What's opposite of scattered? At peace? Do I want to say that? Patience. Already patience comes up. So keep in mind, this is on an emotional level. So everything I'm saying means this is about emotions. What is the message that I want to draw out of them too? Be patient and notice where you put your tentacles into. If your tentacles is in too many things at once, including too many thoughts at any given moment, which means your brain is on overdrive, right there, you might want to take up some ritual or some, what's the word I want to use? Some kind of activity to realign yourself and center yourself. Very important. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're looking at the King of Cups, which is a representation of where you are going. So the King of Cups to me, and again, water sign, King of Cups to me represents a very solid, stable, emotionally stable individual who is in control of his life, but is not controlling. Someone who is comfortable in his or her emotions. So this is, just because it's a male, it doesn't matter. This is a part of you. This is where many of you are heading. That kind of sureness and stability, which also means many of you are feeling this. You're emotionally not very sound. No, not that you're not very sound, not feeling very stable. And emotions are produced often by our thoughts. So if you're feeling emotionally unstable, chances are that it is rooted in your thoughts in terms of instability within you. Can I say it that way? I'm going to say it that way and leave it at that. So where are you moving from? I pulled 3 cards for you. Faith in this deck, it's a number 5. And what's number 5? See, that just for those of you who don't know me, I do not read tarot cards. I'm terrible at it. I do my own thing with them. So I know some of you are screaming at me already. What is the, oh my goodness, Major Arcana. What is the 5? Okay, Hierophant, thank you. All right, well, that makes perfect sense. for those of you, again, who are new to my channel, I don't know how to read tarot cards. I tried, but it's not my thing, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. So you're moving from a place of isolation. It's interesting this card is called Faith in this particular deck, because I also feel many of you are moving from an unfaithful situation. So somebody was not faithful to you. You may have felt betrayed by someone. You may not have a lot of faith in yourself, whether it's because you were raised that way or later developed through a circumstance or something you've gone through. The point here is this is represented to me as an energy of the past. So if you have already been there, then that's the confirmation it is past or behind you already. If you are still going through, if you are still feeling like you have no faith, you have no hope, you will shortly be moving this behind. The next card is very interesting because it's the 10 of Cups. 10 being representative of emotions, 10 representative of completions, which is what I was seeing earlier. And it's also cups. And we keep on talking about the water element. So a lot of it is about emotions, but pretty much everything is about emotions and thoughts. So what I'm feeling here is that over the next few months, it is important for you to address some unfinished business that you have in terms of your family ties. It is about ending a cycle of whatever was back then and make amends, if you will, with those who have hurt you in your past. Make amends with them within yourself. You don't necessarily always have to talk to them, so that you can release the pain you've been holding on to and that you can choose to move on. Some of you will not be able to talk to people because they're no longer in this life. So if you choose to communicate with that person in your mind, then that also works because that person can hear you. This is not the traditional meaning of the card, but this is what I get from this. So as you will be working on these things or facing these things or transitioning out of old things, you will inevitably be facing your fears. So the moon comes up, and when it shows up, it carries with it a certain level of discomfort. Not because there's anything bad that is going to be happening, but because it represents some uncomfortableness that comes up to the surface in terms of feelings, thoughts, and emotions. At the end of the day, what this is really all about, it's about you looking at your foundation and asking yourself, what is it in my foundation, in my beliefs, which then are thoughts and emotions? What is it in my foundation that is not true for me anymore? What cracks are in my foundation? I'm going to give you an example. If you have, and I think I've given this example before, if you've grown up in a family, for example, where there was always lack, not enough money, not enough love, not enough food, not enough whatever, not enough emotional connection, not enough expression emotionally, not enough I love yous, whatever, not enough. Chances are you have gotten the idea that when it comes to life in general, it is about lack, right? So that kind of belief, and it's illogical, it's not logic-based, it is based on experience, while we didn't have a lot of logical maturity. So the way we reasoned with ourselves was, based at a very young, apologies about that, a call came in and stopped the recording. Anyway, our truth was based on a very limited way of seeing things because it was based on an experience of a child. Point is, if you have that kind of mentality or belief system, that's a crack in your foundation, because that will absolutely prevent you from achieving everything that you want, because your belief is in lack. So it's about what you believe. It's about what your spiritual sovereignty is, and that's actually one of your cards. I'm drawn to the number 103. 1 is representative of new beginnings. 0 to me, 0 is an energy where anything is possible, but it's not really focused. 3 is about expansion. And I'm also seeing a 10 and a 3. So what this is symbolizing to me, that it's time, the message here is, it's time to shift how you think and change your perspectives. If your belief is, let's say, I'll never find somebody who loves me, then that belief will be true for you. And guess what? You'll prove yourself correct every single time. So if you are wanting to be loved, and if you're wanting to have someone to love, as an example, and this could apply to anything in life, anything you want in life, then you must change your belief and you must change your expectation. But it's not as easy as switching off the switch and saying, bye-bye belief, I don't have you any longer. I wish it was that important, it's important, but I wish it was that easy. It's not, because we have this thing so deeply rooted that is now part of our personality. It's something we depend on. It is part of our structure. So it takes time, certainly effort and dedication, in order to create new structure, new foundation, or in other words, a new belief. How you do that? By examining your thoughts and by paying attention how you talk to yourself. If you always tell yourself, I'll never be loved, I'll never be loved, I'll never be loved, then you essentially are going to prove yourself correct. On the other hand, if you have a thought, I'll never be loved, and then you go, you know what? I used to think that way and I still do, but it is something I choose not to do later. At least you're stopping yourself from having that thought take you over. Because generally when we have a thought, it then produces certain emotion, and generally we follow with a certain behavior. So when you have those thoughts of, for example, I'll never be loved, you effectively behave that way. So this is about controlling your mind, not having the mind control you, which unfortunately is what usually happens. But you are in a time where you are able to see this and be much more aware, which means things are becoming much more visible to you. And as a result of that, it is much easier to change. Awareness is key. So I will leave this with you. And I'm here and remind them to be patient and remind them to draw attention or draw energy back into themselves versus being scattered. And scattered could mean anything from your mind is all over the place, in which case you need to learn how to meditate as one example, to having so many responsibilities that you're basically running from all over the place and you're running out of fuel, to, overgiving on regular basis because you're trying to be loved and you're trying to feel good about yourself. Oh, you guys get the picture. It's time to pull back to you. And with that said, I want to leave that with you. I do hope this was helpful. It was flowed a little bit different than the other ones in the past, but I'm also changing as well quite rapidly. So I hope this works for you as well. As always, thank you so much for giving me the time and giving me the time to hear what I have to say. I always say my passion is to inspire a new thought. And a new thought can become part of your brand new beginning of a new experience. So by no means take what I say as gospel. Always listen with your heart. Let your intuition guide you. If this makes no sense to you right now, chances are it will make sense to you at some point. So do listen to it, even a few months from now. For some of you, it already makes sense. For some of you, you'll have no idea until you get there, and then you'll go, oh my gosh, I know what she was talking about. So do yourself a favor, listen to it as FYI, but then listen to it again or a few more times over the next 2-3 months and see how this comes in handy. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself. Of course, for private session, that information is down below. You guys know how this works. You can just email me or book online. And with that said, thank you so much once again, and I'll see you soon.